stranded down out in the cold, faithless and dark, your story's untold. Come take my hand and walk there with me. I know a place where we can be free. There is a light shining for you, guiding your way, helping you through. And shadows and gloom are all that you see. We'll find a place where we can be free. From the mountain top down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you. It's the rising sun shining in the darkest valley. Can't you see you will be free? I have been far, I have been wide, searching for peace, somewhere to hide. Now I am free, open and pure, fearless and babe, I am secure. There is no dark that can't be lit. We'll find a way if we just commit. We are one. There is no them and us. Together we're strong. Together we're free. From the mountain top down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you. It's the rising sun shining in the darkest valley. Can't you see you will be free? Can't you see you will be free? You will be free.
Welcome today to this meditation. Let us take a moment to dive in and give ourselves this special time. Take a few deep breaths and relax. Let go of all worries. Let go of all responsibilities. You don't have to get anywhere. You don't have to be anywhere. Just be here and now. Allow yourself to see all that you are. See the good, see the bad, see however, whichever way you are. It's okay to see those places which we've been pushing away from a long time. It's time to just pay attention. It's okay to give it a glance without judging ourselves. That part of us that we haven't fully accepted yet. Maybe we find it not so perfect now. But today, we will let go of all judgments. Let go of any standards or templates that we've been adhering to. Let go of how people perceive good as. Let go of how you perceive good as. And just allow yourself to see those places that you've been pushing away. It is time to welcome those parts of us back home and accept ourselves. Let us have compassionate eyes and let us give ourselves this beautiful, welcoming gaze, a warm embrace through our loving attention to these places that have been ignored, that haven't been touched, that may have been judged too harshly. It is time to love every part of us. You may visualize yourself giving yourself a nice warm hug to these places, to these parts of us that have been ignored for too long. I now choose to let go of all judgments I hold towards myself and see that all these parts of me are just making myself the unique me that I am. And I choose to wholeheartedly, open-heartedly accept myself just as I am right now. I am perfect. This is how I am created, and I am perfect. I choose to humbly accept this truth now. As you take time to embrace these places, give yourself loving attention. Seek to see every corner where you have been not so kind to yourself. As you are receiving love in these places, also feel the love that you are receiving back from these parts of yourself. She is perfect. She is loving and caring and also appreciates your love for you. When you're ready, you may melt these parts of you in your heart and see that you are one and never separated. It was always you. You may take a moment to absorb this wonderful vibration that you have created in your heart and carry it throughout the day. When you're ready, you may open your eyes. Namaste.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy, and today I will do the card reading for the Sunday service. And I pulled a few cards from the Sacred Traveler deck from Dennis Lin. And I love it because it reminds me of fairy tales, and I love fairy tales, and they always have so many divine lessons in them. And the first card is staying focused. And the message is hold the course. And I feel it's so important on our journey because it can sometimes be so easy to get distracted from the outside. And because we deserve the best on our journey, and so it's important to stay loyal to our vision we have. And I remember a class where Jeff said to remember our core purpose and to really let everything arise from this place and not from another place. And let that be the center, your foundation, so to speak, where you are building on. And so I love the message because the next card is perfectly. The moment you make a choice and you focus on something, obstacles can come on our way. Blocks can come up. For example, you choose harmonious twin flame union, or you choose to go deeper into love. It can be that God is showing you directly what is in the way of that. Why is it not there yet? And so the message is already you can overcome anything. So there's nothing too big for God. And I love that it's from King Arthur, Excalibur, with the sword in it, and that you have the power to claim your divine self, to claim God and who you really are, and to pull the sword out of it, to claim your power. And there is already the solution, and God is like this. Because the moment the problem is coming up, God has a solution for it. And maybe you can see it, there is a little heart in the middle of the sword. And this is always the solution to connect with your feelings, to connect with your heart, because then you flow with God's flow. It's like water always finds its way. So across and aside the obstacle, across the stone, when you're like water, you connect with your feelings and with God, you flow aside the obstacle and you come further along on your journey, right? And I love how God's message here with our feelings. And I also, this bird looks like a robin. And I remember when I was in Ireland that I Googled that as a power animal, and it was like a comforter on our journey. And I feel like no matter if you feel sad or what kind of feelings are coming up, God is encouraging us and comforting us and is there for us. That nothing is too big for God. No obstacle ever is too big for God. And the next card is also perfect because it's stepping into power. And this man has also a sword, and he already got it and pulled it out of the stone. And so it's a message for you too, and for us to claim our power from God. And in truth, it's peace and love. And you are strong beyond measure, the card says. You're more powerful than you think because you have God. And if it's dark outside and you cannot see anything where you should go, you just invite God, you invite light there, and God is guiding you perfectly through the darkness. And I also love the next card because it's perfectly with that. Begin now, take the first step. Sometimes you just know the next step, not the third one or the even 10 steps ahead. You don't know that yet. You don't see the way yet. But to trust God that He will show you at the right time your next step. And the last card says, for example, to let go of attachments or what feels maybe familiar to you, and to really, you learn on your journey to surrender to God more, that God is your home, God is your stability, God is your foundation, and to go for your dreams and to have the courage to really trust through the darkness, and that God is taking your hand and is guiding you perfectly along your journey. And it's just about always the next step. And you don't have to know yet. You don't have to control your journey. And so you have an open heart to receive so many miracles and surprises by God, but just always doing what feels compelling for you, doing the next step. And yeah, I find it like a very beautiful message from God, and very encouraging to really trust Him on a deep level, and also trust us. And I remember the sermon from Danny and Christina when they shared about God confidence and self-confidence, that you just have to rely on God because God is within you and your power is coming from God, and you can relax more on your journey completely. You can flow, you can get like water, and that God is in charge. And I also remember like from this card, like with these obstacles, and to get like water and to flow aside from it, from the meditation CD from Jeff and Shaleia. There's, for example, this twin flame meditation where you just relax into God's river. You can take your twin flame's hand or imagining that, and you allow yourself to flow with the river. And so you're always like relaxed and surrendered on your journey. And that's the fast track. That's the fast track to release all obstacles. Yeah, to surrender to God's flow. So I love the message, and thank you everybody for watching. And I wish you a great Sunday and see you soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Fabian, and today I have the honor to introduce us to the sermon by Adam and Brienne, titled "What is stopping you from experiencing heaven now?" I have already watched it, and I can say that it is a beautiful sermon awaiting us. It really touched upon major points that spoke to me in my situation at the moment. Adam and Brienne are covering what is heaven, what is not heaven. They are really pointing out that, there's something that is in alignment with heaven and something that is not in alignment with heaven. And they are also showing us how to overcome whatever is stopping us at the moment. And ultimately, the sermon is a gateway toward heaven, toward a heavenly state. The question that is coming up for me is, what exactly is heaven though? Well, let us agree that heaven is a very desirable thing. I would say that it is everything desirable, or that it is a state that is extremely desirable. And we are talking about a state already, and heaven then is not a place necessarily. Heaven is not, I have to move to this country over there. That's heaven for me. While it does exist, heavenly places on this beautiful planet, heaven begins within. And heaven expresses itself outwardly. But if there is no heaven inside first, I cannot experience heaven outside of myself. So even if I am on a beautiful Caribbean island, relaxing in the sun or in the shade of the palm trees, if I don't experience heaven within and can't really enjoy that experience as much. So what is all of the beauty on earth worth it if I'm not experiencing heaven inside of me? And that's where today's sermon comes in, because it is showing us a way to attain it and to remove and release all the blocks that are preventing us from a heavenly blissful state inside of us. Now, Adam and Brienne are talking about, fear. Fear is a major thing that can be preventing us from experiencing heaven. And I'm sure that we all know the feeling of fear. If you live on earth, then you have experienced fear. But what did fear tell you? What was fear trying to tell you, and how did you respond to it? What did you do when you encountered fear? That is really the question, right? It is not that we don't experience fear or that we can prevent the experience of fear. Our power comes in on how to react to experiencing fear. Oh, that situation is fearful. But I'm not stopping there. I move through it. I don't choose to listen to what the fearful voice is trying to tell me. I choose to let it go. I choose to relax. I choose to have compassion with myself. I choose to accept myself. I choose to be me. And if I'm not trying to be in a place I am not, or if I'm not trying to be someone that I'm not, fear is already leaving me. Because there is great safety in acceptance, in accepting myself, in being myself, in allowing myself to feel safe in being myself. It is safe to be you. And being you goes hand in hand with a feeling of safety. If you don't feel safe, then it will be difficult to fully be yourself. But if you are yourself in a safe environment, then this opens the door to a heavenly experience. So it is my belief that safety is, a feeling of safety is really a key component here. And whenever we feel fear, fear is trying to tell us that, hey, it is not safe. You're not safe. And here we have our choice to buy into the fear. Oh, I guess you are right. Or, well, I know your old story. I'm not gonna listen to it anymore. And Adam and Brianna are gonna share more on that, like not listening to it anymore. Not anymore fear. It is okay, but it is stopping here. And putting up that boundary toward fear is automatically choosing the opposite of it. Is choosing safety, is choosing relaxation, is choosing acceptance, love, is choosing heaven. Saying no to fear is choosing heaven. And it all begins within. Now, please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's sermon by Adam and Brienne.
Hello, we're Adam and Brienne. We'll be your ministers of union for this Sunday service. And this service will be about?
Yeah, today's service is going to be about heaven, cultivating your heaven in your inner and your outer reality. And in a nutshell, heaven is a state of being. And we're going to take you deeper here into what that means for you and each and every one of us.
Yeah, the first opening ohms and opening prayer. You can follow along in your heart or out loud. Good. Now for the opening prayer. I am the only child of God, forever part of Him. I am created by Him in perfection, and there I always remain. My mind is my sanctuary, where I keep His holy creation sacred. I will only allow in His voice. I will only accept His word.
Today, I will hear the word of God. I surrender myself to His teachings through His divine channel. I will honor what He has spoken and accept it as His will. I will be obedient to His word, for this is my salvation. In Christ's name, amen. Good. Okay, let's get started.
Yeah.
So as we shared before, today's sermon is on the topic of heaven and what is not heaven, how to align yourself to heaven, and what that looks like and feels like, since heaven is a state of being. And we first want to start with a beautiful quote from Jeff and Shaleia, and it was from the Sunday 7 p.m. class, Twin Flame Ascension School. And it's the title is The Manifestation, or Ego, the Manifestation Consciousness in Belief of Separation. And the quote is, the ego thrives off of you denying your divinity. Because ego is in complete opposition to divinity, so as long as you are denying your divinity in any way, in any form, then you are allowing ego to live within you. Yeah, that's the perfect thing there. So yeah, like as Adam and I, that's something that we've been working on healing in our union, is really choosing and claiming our divinity in all ways. And as a result of doing that, we've really been having a lot of whatever's out of alignment with our divinity coming up to the surface to be healed through. And for me personally, one of those things that I've been healing is I realized that I had built a foundation on fear rather than love. My whole life, I lived from a state of fear. And it wasn't even something that I was consciously aware of. It was just something that I did because it was how I learned to exist and how I learned to move around within the world. And as I've, come into this body of work and really grounded into the teachings of unionism, I realized that that's actually not how God intended for us to live and how to be. We're meant to be like as you can imagine, I'm sure you experience this yourself, like when you're living from a place of fear, it's incredibly exhausting because you're just leaking your energy away. There's absolutely nothing relaxing about that. And so when you finally have the awareness of that, that you've been living in that way, and these emotions come up like exhaustion, feeling burnt out, feeling like feelings of heaviness, and just everything that the fear, cultivates within you. And so like we've really been cleansing this from our union. And as we've been building a foundation in love with God, there's been like this inner conflict where we were still holding on to the old foundation of fear, and almost like in a sense trying to bring it into the foundation of love that we're cultivating with God. And it become very apparent, recently, like what it was that we were doing. And so we've like, throughout our healing, like really chosen to let that go completely and stand firm in our foundation of love. And yeah, so there's been like a lot of upheaval of fear, and it's been there's been a lot of challenges in that, but yet it's a good challenge, right? It's because we cultivate our reality. So it's a challenge that, we called in to move through. And yeah, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
So this is why I also think when you said, like, it's been challenging, right? But like what is on the other side there. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I feel like it's good too, to go into like what that might look like in your life. Like, how do you identify if you're living in a state of heaven or if you're experiencing hell, right? And so, yeah.
Yeah, that is a good thing to go into. So, like, first is kind of like fear doesn't stop, death or any other thing you may be fearing. It just stops your life from moving forward, right? And yeah, and I think especially if we're holding on to fear, you're gonna feel that, right? In the sense of anxiety or just like oh, am I doing something wrong or whatever it is. And even I wanna, give an honorable mention to guilt and shame, which also holds you in that space of hell, Yeah, so I mean, for me, earlier this year, yeah, I've been living my life, before, and typical anxiety and fear of everything. And I was getting like, I can't live like this, right? And that is especially not in alignment, as with coming into heaven, right? And I was I had enough of it. I'm like, of course, use the mirror exercise to heal it and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I healed this. It came up again. I'm like, no, I healed this. This is not okay, right? We're not going to go into that again. I kept saying like, no, we're not doing that anymore. And this fear was like, but what about this? And I'm like, no, we're not doing that anymore. No. And it was like, okay, like, but then it was like, but what about this? I'm like, no, we're not doing this, right? So it's kind of like you have to be very persistent and diligent and saying no to that, kind of like when you're, healed it within and trusting your healing there and recognizing how you're living in that space every time you're asking yourself, oh, did I do something wrong, or what happened here, or yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me, when you were mentioning shame and guilt, it reminds me of a book that I was reading. I cannot remember the author, but it's called Power versus Force. And it shares with you like the different levels of consciousness. And I believe shame and guilt were the very bottom, like people that commit, like gruesome crimes and things like that. It's because their consciousness is living in a state of shame and fear. And so they act from that place of shame and guilt. I'm sorry, shame and guilt. And yeah, like this is why this work is so powerful, is like Adam was saying, anytime you find those thoughts and those feelings within you, being incredibly diligent in ensuring that you uproot it from your consciousness, and realizing, as Jeff and Shaleia have taught us, that we are divine beings and we never have to accept anything in our consciousness that is out of alignment with that. It's completely unacceptable to allow anything that is out of alignment with love within yourself. Yeah, you are valuable. And it also reminds me too how Jeff and Shaleia teach us like going into the cave of fear. And often the caves of fear are the places that you avoid and you fear the most. And you just don't go into it. But when you walk into it and knowing that, you know, you're walking with God, it's God that's moving you through it. It's God that's guiding your healing, and it's God that's guiding your challenges and showing you what feelings coming up next and where to go, where to heal. It's safe to go there, and you're only going to find it's like turning, I think I told a client this yesterday. It's like walking in this room where there's a bunch of cobwebs, and you're like flipping the light switch on, and you're going in and you're cleaning up the room. And as you're doing that, you're bringing that vibration of peace, and you're realizing that peace was there all along. It just needed some attention. It needed love. And this is what is within our consciousness, is your consciousness is filled with many different places, and all of these places in your being and your consciousness are calling for attention, love. And this is what the mirror exercise does, is it helps you pinpoint where it is that you're needing to love yourself and give yourself that attention, which results in a state of heaven in that place of your consciousness. And as you cultivate heaven, union in all of these places of your consciousness, there's momentum in that, and that heaven state of consciousness begins to manifest not only within you. You feel really good, you feel happy, you feel joyful, but it also starts to manifest in your outer reality. You have that heaven being reflected back to you. Yeah.
And it's just a choice.
It is.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to feel, guilt, shame, or fear. All of that is, from separation and ego, right?
Yeah.
Wanting to keep you there. And there's absolutely no reason. So anytime, if you're having that in your heart right now, let it go.
Yeah.
No reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another important thing too is, we've experienced this within ourselves and also our clients, is that they'll be feeling these feelings and they feel like the feeling is who they are. And then they hold on to it. And then that perpetuates that shame and guilt. And it keeps you stuck in a state of hell, right? And a state of hell doesn't happen from your external circumstances. Your external circumstances are showing you where in your consciousness you're allowing yourself to live in a state of hell. And the way that you do that is, and also hell is, ego, it's separation. And like you heal that by bringing love and light there. And it's a very easy process. So yeah, you're not the upsets, we're not the upsets. It's just simply a feeling that's moving through you. Yeah.
Yeah, and many people are using it as a motivator. Fear, guilt, shame, anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let yourself be motivated and inspired by love. Because you think maybe you get more stuff done when you keep yourself in that like mode of, being hard on yourself in that space, right? Or holding on to that fear, doing things out of fear. But you get more done if you let yourself be motivated by love.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. This was like, shout out to our coach, Chrissy Emmerich. Like, this was brought up in one of our sessions recently, is Chrissy pointed out that I was being motivated by fear. And so there was kind of like a lack of motivation. But then when something was pointed out or receiving discipline, then I would be fearful of that. And then I'd really get on the ball and start moving. And so I would be moving from a place of fear, and that's not loving to myself, and it's not loving to, whatever it is that I'm doing in that space, because it's just spreading fear. Rather than spreading love, I'm spreading fear. And so when she pointed that out, it really like, wow, okay, I didn't realize, and that goes back to what we were talking about a little bit ago, is like fear being your foundation. And so I really like made a new core choice there, and being, like Adam said, like choosing to be motivated by love, allowing love to move me. And when you allow love to move you, that's incredibly valuable. You're valuing yourself, you're honoring yourself and your divinity, and you're sharing the gift of that value with the world. You're sharing that love, you're extending that love. with another. Yeah,
Very good.
it's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a Bible
Okay.
quote now, and
Yeah.
I want to mention, "Fear not" is mentioned in the Bible 365 times. So basically, one time for each day of the year.
Wow.
So, you know, fear not. We should take seriously what God has said. So this one is from 2 Timothy 1:7. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. That's our true state of being. Yeah, God did not create fear, right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels really good. That verse in itself is very healing. You can feel it in your being. And yeah, I just feel like it's an opportunity for all of us to make a new choice. Remember, because like Adam said, you create in your reality by making a choice. And so we can all choose and reaffirm our choice of aligning and embodying our divinity and really honoring that. And this is something else too that we've been learning is when you make that choice, make any choice, a new choice of love, there's one thing to make the choice and it's another thing to act on the choice. And this goes back to what Adam was sharing is like he made a choice to live in love and no longer allow fear to be in his reality. And he really had to be diligent, right? And that's where the action is applied is you make the choice, but you have to act on that choice. You can't just make the choice and just voila, like it's gone from your reality. Like there's an action step that is required, but in that action step, you build your confidence, you build your courage in that choice. And the old way of being naturally falls away and you tip the scale into your new state of being. And that's what we're all cultivating together is our living in our divinity, living in our heaven every moment of every day. And so we're all tipping that scale together as we're diligent and taking action on our new choices of love.
Yeah, like visualize how your life would be like without this fear. What would you do?
Yeah.
What are you not doing right now that you would do without this fear? Yeah, it's important to know why you're doing things too. Why you're not why am I not wanting to live in this fear anymore or this guilt or shame, right? What does my life look like?
Absolutely.
On the other side of that.
Yeah, like you can visualize the freedom that you would experience or the expansion of the freedom that you already have, cultivated within yourself and having, your twin flame with you, living your shared life purpose, and whatever else it is that you envision for your life. And that's another thing too, is like fear will constantly invite you back. It's always going to be there knocking at your door until you've transcended it completely. And so you want to keep your vision, keep your eye focused on your vision, whatever it is that you desire for your life, and being diligent and being persistent in keeping your focus on God, keeping your focus on your vision for your life, and just allowing the fear when it knocks at your door, not giving it attention because it's not real. It's a manifestation of separation. And as Jeff and Shaleia share with us, I think I have a quote on that too. Let me see. Yeah, like the ego wants to think it's you. That was another really good quote from that same class. Is the ego wants you to think that you're the fear. It wants you to believe that you're separate from your good and that you're separate from your brother and sister. And so this is a way that you transcend it, is you just don't give it any power. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion. And that's how we transcend it together, right? We're healing it as one.
And remember who you walk with. Like it's kind of like from the Course in Miracles. Yeah, if you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. Yeah, it's just a good reminder every time you get into that space, like, no, I'm walking with God. We're not having more of this thing right here. Like, I'm going to have the good life. I'm going to have the God life. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. This
Good.
feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have anything else you wanted to share, or I feel like
Yeah, just be diligent and, choose heaven. Choose
Yeah.
to walk with God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one more quote. I just glanced down, and there was another quote that I feel guided to share too. It's also from the same class. But Jeff said, "It's a lie. The ego is a lie that we've just made up."
Mhm.
At some point in some time, man decided that they wanted to try to be God,
Yeah.
right? And then had the belief, the idea that all of a sudden we were God. And in separating ourselves from God, that was a manifestation of ego. And so it's literally just a lie. And it's just us uprooting these lies from our consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy peasy. Choose for it to be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's support, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of support in this community and conquering the fears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the guilt and the shame. Do not need.
No.
No. Good.
Yeah, I feel complete here.
Yeah, I feel complete too. So we'll do our closing prayer and our closing ohms.
Yes.
Father, I accept your word into my heart. I will honor your will in my life and will follow you without hesitation anywhere you ask. I know you guide me into your heart where I belong. I accept that you are everywhere, and your teaching is in all things. God, I know you provide me with clarity in these teachings of union, that I may be forever in union with you.
I accept that you are in me as you are in my brother. I will not deny my brother your word, and I will share your teaching with him in any way you ask and only as you ask. For when I share my salvation with him, I fully claim my salvation and return to you with him. In Christ's name, Amen.
Speaking this prayer in your heart means you have accepted that you are on the path of awakening to your true divine nature. This is what it means to be a unionist. Follow the teachings of union with God wherever you find them and purify your consciousness in perfect union with your Creator.
All right.
Right.
And now for our closing ohms. Yes, you are welcome to, walk along in your heart or in your mind. Thank you very much.
God bless.
Namaste.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much, Adam and Brienne, for our sermon today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for today's Sunday service. My favorite takeaways from the sermon were definitely that we have a choice. We can say no to fear. Fear is gonna, show up at our door. But if it is knocking and we know it's fear, you're gonna say no to it, right? And really taking time to self-investigate, to be vigilant when it comes to the inner movings, the inner thoughts, the inner feelings. Ooh, there's a fearful thought. I choose love there. I choose to uproot it. I choose to heal it at the core. This is how my freedom increases, by being present with myself and by choosing love. And whenever I encounter fear within myself, really choosing to uproot it fully. And then I experience my reality moving toward more and more heaven, inside and outside. And that's the beauty of Ascension. It's only getting better, and this is the very beginning. And I love the quote at the end, by Jeff and Shaleia, that fear is just an illusion. It's something completely made up. It's not even real. And so what really happens is that we are letting go of the illusion of fear, of separation, of all of that limitation, and voila, we experience heaven more and more. But heaven is not in the future when we have cleared all the upsets. Heaven is something now, right? And there are many, 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 many places in my consciousness that can experience heaven now. And wherever I am at within my consciousness is where I can invite heaven. And then I can experience heaven now. That's easy, and that's definitely doable. So I invite you to, really give yourselves the gift of your presence throughout this week specifically, and to really uproot these fearful thoughts and feelings, and keeping in mind the price, keeping in mind the goal, where you are headed, the dream, the vision, not losing sight of it, as Adam and Brianne shared. Then you know where you are headed, then you know what you are in for. And that's really the appropriate focus for you, is heaven. And that sets the course of your actions, of your choices. Very good. If you enjoyed today's Sunday service, please leave a like and subscribe to the Church of Union YouTube channel. And please visit our website unionism.org for all past Sunday services, card readings, for our music. And there you can also tithe and donate to contribute to the Church of Union's message to the world. And please join us for after church tea time in the Unionism Spiritual Discussion Facebook group with beautiful panelists talking about the message we received today. We will see each other in future Sunday services. Enjoy your week.